How's it going, everybody? Ragroth here. So I haven't really posted too much recently just because I've sort of had what I call tuber's block, where I just can't really think of what to make a new video on, putting aside if there's a new trailer or something that I'm interested in reacting to. But there's one thing that's been kind of floating in my mind since we've been getting more news on Silent Hill F. Now, I do realize that I don't really talk about horror games that much, let alone Silent Hill. I've probably talked more about Resident Evil, if anything. This is just kind of an idea that I haven't really... People have been complaining, I guess, since this game was initially shown off, that they don't like that it's more kind of Eastern Japanese horror versus majority of Silent Hill is more sort of Western Americana horror, despite, Silent Hill being a Eastern-made game. And then, of course, more recently, when we've gotten a look at the combat and how it's more, quotation mark, Souls-like, than something like, Silent Hill 2 Remake, where it's a little bit more, I guess, stiff and Resident Evil-like, if you want to call it that. Not really sure how to describe that. And, kind of just how, this isn't Silent Hill and all that. Now, putting aside the fact that I haven't really seen anyone kind of bring up. Maybe there have been some people, and I just haven't seen it, but, this is a thing that I've noticed that I've really only kind of thought about, or at least seen someone mention. And, I'm just thinking, what if they're doing this, kind of this huge direction shift, because maybe they want to see if Silent Hill F could sort of be a series alongside mainline Silent Hill, putting aside, spin-offs like we've gotten, in the past, Downpour, and I know there's that other game that hasn't come out called, Silent Hill Townfall, I believe. I don't know what the deal with that is yet. I'm just saying it's a spin-off game. Could we get, a Silent Hill F? This is Silent Hill F, and then maybe we get a Silent Hill F2. And that game, obviously would have a different protagonist, mildly different setting, but still probably in Japan, maybe a slightly different time period. Maybe it's instead of the 60s, it's in the 70s or something like that. Or maybe it's further in the past. And, it would still have the Souls-like gameplay as well versus how Silent Hill 2 Remake is. We already know that Bloober Team is making a remake to Silent Hill 1, which I think is awesome. I mean, Silent Hill 1 was never one I was as much interested in. However, I think it's the one that needs a remake the most, and I think that's more exciting when a game that needs a remake more, even if it's not as popular, gets a remake. Because it's aged the worst, and it is also the first one in the franchise. But okay, so we know they're remaking Silent Hill 1. I thought there were some leaks or rumors suggesting they would be doing 3 as well, and I think that would be a no-brainer, especially because I think 3 is the next most popular next to 2. Then, okay, after 3, let's say they're still doing good with them, then maybe they do Silent Hill 4. I know that one's kind of up in the air, because that one's one of the more divisive. It's probably the least well-received of the mainline numbered games. However, I think that's, again, more of a reason to remake that. Let's say regardless if 4 gets a remake or not. So, all right, Bloober Team has more games under their belt. They're doing better. They're getting a hang of how Silent Hill is. And I know they also have they have that new game coming out really soon. I forget what it's called. I think it's the sci-fi horror game or something, kind of like Dead Space. Future me will probably make a note of this in the video. I know Bloober Team isn't really I know in the past they've been a very sort of divisive company. You either love their games or hate them. I personally have never played any of their games before Silent Hill 2 Remake. Not because I didn't like them, I just didn't really interest me, or I don't even think I really knew about them, to be fair. And I loved I love Silent Hill 2 Remake. It's probably one of my favorite horror games ever. I still haven't beaten it yet, too. I might want to try to beat it before F comes out, but I don't know if that's going to happen. So let's say, all right, they're doing good with that, and then Silent Hill F team is doing good with Silent Hill F. They're doing good. Maybe they have 1 or 2 games under their belt. And it's being made by that team. I forget that team's name necessarily. I know they did Umbrella Corps or something like that, and I know it's being written by someone that's very well liked. I forget the guy's name. Again, future me might make note of that in the video. So they're doing good. Then let's say they're all right, Konami's all right, Bloober Team, let's see, why don't you make a proper Silent Hill 5? They maybe make a Silent Hill 5. Then these things are along, and of course Silent Hill 5 would be more 1, 2, 3, and 4, where it's more kind of Americana horror in the West, rather than Silent Hill F's more Japanese. And yeah, I know there is the whole thing where I don't know what F stands for. It could stand for 5, and if it does stand for 5, I get this idea probably wouldn't happen. Though I don't think it is, because first of all, why the hell would you not just call it Silent Hill 5? I think that would bring a lot more people in, even though I know that would probably make people even more mad with a different direction of this game. And I also thought I heard that the F stands for flower or something, which I think would make more sense, because I know the game's all about kind of horror and beauty, and admittedly there are a lot of flowers in the game. So that's sort of my mindset. They want to kind of see how this does, and if it does well, maybe it'll be a series alongside the mainline numbered games. And I know they haven't said anything about that yet, but they might not really know. They might want to just see how things go and then kind of decide after. I personally think this would be the best of both worlds, because I think everybody kind of gets what they want. Like, the people that aren't as crazy about like the more Eastern Souls like whatever game can just play the remakes and maybe Silent Hill 5 and maybe even Talonfall as well, depending on how that is. And then the people that are brought into Silent Hill from Silent Hill F can enjoy that kind of game. And then the people like me that are kind of open to both can enjoy both, kind of, have our cake and eat it too. And I know, like, they've kind of said, like, very vague things, like, oh, it's not tied to the main games, but there might be references. Like, I feel like the tone has been very wishy-washy with how much it's going to connect to the mainline games with Silent Hill F. So I guess we'll see. Yeah, I don't know. That's just an idea that I kind of had to pop in my head, and I think it would be the smartest move, in my opinion. Again, depending on how well Silent Hill F does. If it flops, then unfortunately that's probably done and over with. But, I think from what it sounds like is that I think there have been some reviews like sort of coming out that have been mostly positive. So I think that's going to help as well. And it probably helps too that, spooky season's coming around. So it'd kind of be like the big new horror game to play. And I also figured like this idea too, it would be kind of how like the Resident Evil games, we're kind of getting like the remakes that are more like third person action, or at least third person. And then we're getting kind of the new numbered entries that are more so first person, though I guess, well, Resident Evil 9 sort of shatters that idea, because Resident Evil 9, it's first and third person, and it's actually kind of revisiting more familiar locations and settings, unlike 7 and 8, which I'm actually happy with, but I'm just saying it doesn't line up with the theory, my mindset as well, or my thought process. And yeah, that's really all I got. Again, I apologize if like other people have expressed this idea and I just haven't seen it. And, I also apologize too if like, maybe they did suggest that like, oh no, this won't be its own thing. This is just a one-off thing, or this won't be its own series. This will just be a one-off thing. Silent Hill, like, I love it. It's not like I am still more generally new to it than I am some IPs. So, feel free to correct me in the comments below. And, I'm looking forward to the game. I know it's coming out like, I think in less than like it'll probably be coming out less than 5 days when this video comes out. It's not like my most anticipated game, but I think it'll probably be kind of the big new horror game to at least tie us over until Resident Evil 9, I would say. Well, I know that then there is Bloober's new game as well. But yeah, I think it's definitely a good time for horror games. And again, I would love for this kind of idea to come true, where Silent Hill, we get a Silent Hill F series, and then kind of the remakes, and maybe a new numbered Silent Hill game. In a while, probably. We're not even at 3 yet, so I'll probably be like an old man by the time Silent Hill 5 comes out. If this comes to fruition. But you know what, guys? Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd like to hear what other people think about this idea. Would really love to hear your thoughts. And of course, let me know if you're excited for Silent Hill F, or if you're more excited for the Silent Hill 1 remake as well. Whatever, or how you thought of Silent Hill 2 remake. Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. Don't forget to like the video, or dislike it. And of course, subscribe if you haven't already. Would really help the channel out a lot. But with that being said, thank you so much for checking out this video. And another time, another place. Keep being awesome.